You are one step away from the turn. Don't ignore this sign. Have you tried manifesting, affirming, believing, but nothing seems to change? Have you ever wondered why, even applying the law of attraction, abundance doesn't arrive as it should? This is the point almost no one talks about. The problem isn't outside, it's inside. What you feel may be sabotaging what you think. And that's exactly why this video reached you. You're one step away from a turning point, a step that can unlock success, break limiting patterns, and transform your vibration into true prosperity. Don't ignore this sign, because when the heart generates a field 60 times stronger than the brain, life inevitably responds. Today, I'll show you how to recognize this moment and cross the line between scarcity and abundance. Nothing is by chance. The video came to you for a purpose. Nothing happens by chance. The mere fact that you're reading these words is already a powerful sign. Perhaps you felt like you were searching for something greater, or even wondered, will my life ever truly change? Well, here's the answer. You're one step away from a turning point. Don't ignore this sign. The universe works in mysterious but always perfect ways. And today it's placed you exactly where you need to be. The mentor would say that chance doesn't exist, only synchronicity. How many times have you missed subtle signs because you were distracted by intrusive thoughts or stuck in the psychological shadow? Not today. Today you have been called to wake up. And it's not for everyone. It's for those who are prepared to unlock success and break limiting patterns. If this content has reached you, it's because the turning point is closer than you think. Consider this. How many times have you been within an inch of the diamonds and given up? How many times have fear, shame, or guilt spoken louder than your faith? This time's signal is different. It asks you not to back down, not to return to your comfort zone. Your inner adversary will try to convince you otherwise. But remember, feelings rule everything, and it is the heart that decides the direction of your life. Don't ignore what you're feeling right now. Maybe it's chills, maybe it's peace, maybe it's even doubt. But all of this is confirmation that the message is for you. The heart's electromagnetic field speaks in frequencies, not words. It knows when something is true. If you pay attention, you'll notice that the energy is already moving within you, making room for a new manifestation. Think of people who suddenly changed their lives. The businessman who went bankrupt and rebuilt his empire, the single mother who turned pain into prosperity, the young man who came from nothing and conquered the world. None of them ignored the sign. They all decided they wouldn't turn back. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who remain stuck in self-judgment is simple. The former understand they were one step closer and they didn't give up. The sign doesn't appear with fireworks, it manifests itself in the silence of a video that arrives at the right time, in a book that falls into your hands, in a sentence that touches your heart. The process of individuation, as Carl Jung would say, is realizing that these signs don't come from outside, but from the deep unconscious that yearns for your integration. And today, this process is knocking at your door. So take a deep breath and allow yourself to feel. There's no rush, but there is urgency. You're faced with a choice. Ignore this call and repeat old patterns, or believe that you are, in fact, one step away from the turning point. The mentor always reminds us, life doesn't send signals for nothing. Those who understand, prosper. Those who ignore, return to the darkness of the shadow. And now that you know this, it's impossible to go back to the same place as before. The hidden adversary of manifestation. Whenever someone is about to achieve something great, an invisible force appears trying to pull them back. This is the hidden adversary. It appears in the form of intrusive thoughts, feelings of self-judgment, and paralyzing doubts. And here's the truth that few know. If these signals are stronger now, it's because you're one step closer to a breakthrough. The subconscious resists when it realizes the change is real, and that's when many give up. The mentor often says, the hidden adversary is within you. It's not in people, circumstances, or the external world, but in the inner voices that repeat fear, shame, and guilt. This is the ultimate test. The clearest sign that something enormous is about to happen is precisely the intensity of the psychological shadow. So don't ignore this sign. The greater the resistance, the closer you are to abundance. Here's how it happens. Someone decides to start a project, invest in a business, or even open their heart to a new relationship. Everything starts well until thoughts arise like, what if it fails? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? This turmoil is no coincidence. It's proof that the manifestation is already in the vibrational field and that the inner adversary is trying to prevent the next step. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the unconscious side that carries fears, traumas, and limitations. In the process of individuation, this shadow always appears before integration. It's as if to say, "Are you sure you're ready for the turnaround?" That's the signal. Most interpret it as failure, when in fact, it's the final gateway to victory. Only those who persist discover they were just a centimeter away from the diamonds. The mentor teaches that feelings versus thoughts are key at this moment. You can think anything, but what defines your reality is what you feel. When the heart remains steadfast, the electromagnetic field overcomes mental confusion. It's like weathering a storm. Those who focus on their destination don't get lost in the roar of the wind. This is the secret to not giving in to the inner adversary. A practical example. Imagine someone who decides to change their financial life. They're focused and inspired, but suddenly, their car breaks down, an unexpected bill appears, and fear takes over. This isn't bad luck. It's the hidden adversary at work. But if the person understands that these obstacles are merely signs that a turning point is approaching, instead of giving up, they resist and push through. This is the shielding of emotions in practice. So if you're feeling heavier, more resistant, more doubtful than ever, don't be alarmed. This is confirmation. You're one step closer to the turning point. It's at this point that many return to their comfort zone, but it's also where the few who persist achieve their dreams. The hidden adversary hasn't come to destroy you, but to test your readiness. And if you've made it this far, it's because you are. The symbolism of the devil and the inner duality. When we hear the word devil, many people think of an external figure with horns and a trident, but etymology reveals another truth. Devil comes from diabolos, meaning the one who divides. This shows that the devil's symbolism is not outside, but within, in the division between faith and fear, between desire and doubt, between abundance and scarcity. And here's the revelation. When this division intensifies, it's because you're one step away from the turning point. Don't ignore this sign. The mentor explains that the true battlefield is not the external world, but the mind and heart. It is there that feelings and thoughts wage the daily battle. When someone decides to achieve their dreams, the internal adversary immediately emerges, creating this division. It is at this point that the symbolism of the devil comes to life, not as a being, but as a reflection of the duality each person carries. And precisely at this critical point, the sign appears. Carl Jung spoke of the process of individuation, the path of integrating opposites within oneself. The psychological shadow, formed by everything a person rejects or hides, is the territory where this division is strengthened. But the truth is simple. If you're facing this duality now, if you feel as if you're torn between two forces, it's because you're about to cross the portal of abundance. This is the sign of a turning point. Imagine someone who desires prosperity, but deep down still carries guilt for wanting more. On one side, the heart craves expansion. On the other, the mind repeats old judgments. This division is no coincidence. It's the devil within at work. But instead of seeing this as a setback, it's important to see it as confirmation. Conflict only exists because you're one step closer to manifesting something great. This tension is proof of proximity. The mentor compares it to a rubber band about to snap. The closer you get to the limit, the greater the tension. This is true of inner duality. When desire and fear seem to be at the height of their battle, it means victory is near. The heart's electromagnetic field vibrates intensely at this moment, demanding decision. The signal is clear. Don't back down. You're 1 centimeter away from the diamonds. This understanding changes everything, because instead of despairing over internal division, one can use it as a compass. If the struggle is intense, it's because a turning point is near. The inner adversary doesn't appear at the beginning. It reveals itself at the end, when one realizes one might lose control. This is proof that duality is a sign of progress, not failure. So if you feel this battle within yourself today, light versus shadow, faith versus doubt, expansion versus fear, know that it's not punishment, it's confirmation. You're 1 step closer to the turning point, and this is the sign you can't ignore. The point isn't to eliminate duality, but to recognize that it heralds the next level. And that's precisely where the next point comes in. Understanding that the shadow shouldn't be eliminated, but rather recognized and integrated. The shadow should not be eliminated, but recognized. Many people believe they need to eliminate their shadow to achieve abundance. But the mentor explains, the shadow isn't an enemy. It's part of the individuation process. It holds fears, guilt, shame, and memories that haven't been integrated. The true sign that you're one step closer to a breakthrough is when this shadow begins to reveal itself more strongly. Don't ignore it. The shadow doesn't appear to destroy you, but to complete you. Carl Jung said that everything that is repressed returns, and usually intensely. So if today you feel intrusive thoughts, fear of failure, or even shame about thriving, understand, this is not failure. It's a sign that you're ready to integrate something profound. The unconscious only releases dense content when it knows the consciousness has the strength to handle it. It's an invitation to cross the portal of abundance. The mentor likes to use the metaphor of a mirror. The shadow is what you avoid looking at, but which always reflects your image. The closer you get to the turning point, the more this reflection intensifies. This happens because the energy is calling for unity, not division. The heart's electromagnetic field only vibrates fully when feelings and thoughts are in harmony. The shadow is the last step on the ladder. Imagine someone who wants to manifest wealth but feels guilty when talking about money. This guilt is part of the shadow. Many ignore this signal and retreat, returning to their comfort zone. But those who understand choose to reprogram their feelings, recognize the shadow, and transform it into fuel.
The inner adversary becomes a teacher, showing exactly where healing needs to happen. This integration generates power. When the shadow is acknowledged, emotional frequency naturally rises. It's like turning lead into gold, human alchemy in action. Fear can become courage, guilt can become responsibility, shame can become humility.
This transmutation is the clearest sign that the turning point has already begun within you. The secret is not to fight the shadow, but to embrace it. It's not about justifying it, but about integrating it. Instead of denying it, the mentor advises, ask yourself, what is this shadow trying to teach me? This question opens space for emotional awareness and unlocks success. When integration takes place, the hidden adversary loses its power, and you finally feel like you were just an inch away from the diamonds all along. And just when this reconciliation happens, the temptation to give up arises. It's at this point that many stop, not realizing they were about to achieve their dreams. But it's also at this moment that the most powerful metaphor comes into play. The danger of abandoning everything when you're just a centimeter away from the diamonds. And that's what the next step will reveal. The danger of giving up 1 centimeter from diamonds. There's an old metaphor that says, many give up when they're just 1 centimeter from the diamond. Imagine someone digging hard, spending days, months, or years, and stopping just before reaching the precious stone. This is exactly what happens to those who give up at the most difficult moment. What few understand is that this exhaustion, this desire to give up, is the clearest sign that you're one step closer to the turning point. The mentor explains, the universe never misses the mark. When the pressure mounts, it's not because you're too far away, but because you're too close to turn back. It's at this point that the inner adversary whispers, it's no use, you can't do it, give up. But it's precisely at this point that the turning point happens for those who persist. Don't ignore this sign. The final obstacle isn't punishment, it's confirmation of proximity. A practical example is that of R.U. Darby, reported by Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. Darby gave up on the mine because he thought there was no gold, but the next man who took over found the gold just inches from where he left off. How many times have you repeated this story without realizing it? Intrusive thoughts and self-judgment can convince you to abandon the field when the diamonds are just ahead. The mentor likes to say that giving up too soon is like turning off the oven minutes before the cake is ready to bake. All the effort is wasted because the heat didn't have time to complete the process. This is how manifestation works. Energy needs persistence to consolidate. The resistance you feel now isn't a sign of failure. It's proof that abundance is already in your vibrational field. Think of the heart as an electromagnetic field, pulsating 60 times stronger than the mind. It continues sending signals even when the mind screams for it to stop. And that's when the emotional frequency needs to be maintained. If you sustain your feelings, even under pressure, you cross the invisible line that separates scarcity from abundance. Feelings control everything, including ultimate resistance. When the shadow appears, when fear seems unbearable and your comfort zone calls you back, remember, this is just the hidden adversary trying to hold on to what no longer belongs to you. If you feel like you can't take it anymore, breathe. This is the sign. It's proof that you're one step closer to a breakthrough. Giving up now is like handing over the prize you've already won into someone else's hands. So, if life seems to be pushing you against the wall, understand, it's just the final test. The pressure isn't meant to destroy you, but to confirm that you're ready. You're 1 centimeter away from the diamonds, and you just need to take one more step. Don't ignore this sign, because it's precisely when everything seems most difficult that the miracle manifests. And to understand why, we need to talk about the power that feelings have over thoughts. The power of feelings over thoughts. How many times have people tried to solve everything through the power of thought alone and ended up frustrated? The mind analyzes, compares, judges, creates intrusive thoughts, and even invents scenarios that will never happen. But the big breakthrough doesn't depend on what you think, but on what you feel. When your heart sustains certainty, even in the face of chaos, that's when you realize you're one step closer to manifestation. This is the sign you can't ignore. The heart is more than a physical organ. It is an electromagnetic field pulsating with energy 60 times stronger than the brain. This means that while the mind doubts, the heart sends an emotional frequency that can literally alter reality. Feeling commands everything. This phrase seems simple, but it is the key. Thought can open the door, but it is feeling that crosses the threshold. Imagine someone who desires prosperity. They think about wealth, but fear losing money. What will manifest? Not the thought, but the feeling. The heart doesn't lie. It vibrates what's inside, even if the mouth says otherwise. Therefore, to live in abundance, it's not enough to repeat pretty phrases. You need to reprogram your feelings and allow your subconscious to align with this new truth. The mentor teaches that feelings are like a secret password. While thoughts are merely the number entered, feelings are the fingerprint that authorizes access. There's no point in memorizing phrases if, deep inside, the psychological shadow still harbors fear, shame, or guilt. Therefore, the sign that you're one step closer to a breakthrough isn't mental clarity, but the emotional strength that persists even when everything seems to be falling apart. Have you ever noticed how successful people transmit something invisible? It's not just charisma, it's vibrancy. They shield their feelings and protect their emotional state like someone protecting a rare diamond. While others drown in intrusive thoughts, they maintain a silent certainty in their hearts. And that's what consistently puts them in the place of achievement, emotion aligned before evidence. And here's a simple exercise. Close your eyes and imagine a victory scene. Don't focus on how it will happen, but feel what it would be like if it were already a reality. Your body warms, your heart races, your energy expands. This practice is more powerful than any logical reasoning because it puts the heart in charge. That's when the turning point happens. So, when your mind screams, "It won't work," but your heart insists on feeling abundance, recognize it. This is the sign. You're one step closer to the change you've been waiting for. Don't ignore it. Thoughts are noise, but feelings are a compass. And to understand how this emotional frequency transforms into true abundance, you need to take the next step on this journey. Emotional frequency as the key to abundance. Abundance isn't a matter of chance. It responds to an invisible code, emotional frequency. Some people seem to naturally attract opportunities, while others strive but remain trapped in scarcity. The difference lies not in resumes or luck, but in the vibrational field each person sustains. Those who master their feelings recognize the turning point before any external evidence. This is where the key that many overlook comes in. You don't attract what you desire, you attract what you feel. The heart, with its powerful electromagnetic field, sends waves into the universe that return in the form of experiences. If the feeling is fear, more fear will come. If it's abundance, abundance manifests. This is the point. The turning point happens when you change the frequency. Changing the feeling changes everything. A practical example. 2 people can be in the same environment, do the same work, and have completely opposite results. Why? Because one vibrates scarcity, feels like they're never enough, while the other vibrates trust, joy, and gratitude. It's the difference between living in reaction to the world or creating the world from the vibration held in the heart. The mentor explains that emotional frequency works like a radio station. If you tune in to fear, life sends you news of defeat. If you tune in to faith and joy, you receive confirmation of victory. This adjustment is the true one step toward a turning point. It's not about changing everything externally, but about changing your internal tuning. You could be 1 centimeter away from the diamonds and not realize it because you're listening to the wrong station. Therefore, those who desire a change must learn to reprogram their feelings. It's not enough to monitor their thoughts. They must also consciously feel. Music, environments, prayer, gratitude, inspiring reading, all of these elevate the frequency and keep the heart shielded from the internal adversary. It's like fueling the body with pure fuel. It responds with more energy, clarity, and manifestation. Napoleon Hill once said that burning desire creates its own reality, but desire in itself is not a thought, it's a vibration. It's the emotion charged with faith that creates an irresistible magnetic field. The secret lies in sustaining this energy even when nothing around us confirms it. This is the point where most people give up, not realizing they were already one step away from the breakthrough. So, if you feel that persistent spark of abundance within you, even amidst the chaos, know this. This is the sign. Don't ignore it. It's your heart confirming that the frequency has already shifted, and that manifestation is approaching. And to understand why the subconscious is so resistant to these changes, we need to look at the hidden mechanisms that try to keep you trapped in your comfort zone. The subconscious hates change. The greatest enemy of change isn't outside, but within you. The subconscious is like a guardian that protects old patterns, even when those patterns no longer make sense. It hates change because it perceives novelty as a threat. Therefore, every time you decide to break free from scarcity and manifest abundance, it triggers feelings of fear, shame, and guilt. This discomfort isn't a sign of defeat, it's proof that you're one step closer to change. The hidden adversary appears not dressed as an enemy, but as comfort. It's that voice that says, "Better stay where you are, at least it's safe here." But this security is a prison in disguise. The comfort zone seems like protection, but it's actually an invisible barrier. When you try to cross it, intrusive thoughts, self-judgment, and sabotage arise. This is the subconscious trying to pull you back. Imagine someone who wants to change careers. Suddenly they feel anxiety, fear of failure, and shame about exposing themselves. Many interpret this as a sign to give up, but it's exactly the opposite. This emotional turmoil is the subconscious's alarm, telling them, "Watch out, you're about to leave your old programming." And it's at this point that most people back down, unaware that victory was just beyond the wall of discomfort. Carl Jung said that the process of individuation requires integrating the shadow, not eliminating it. The same applies here. The subconscious doesn't need to be defeated by force, but acknowledged. When you understand that fear is merely a defense mechanism, it loses its power. Instead of running away, you observe. Instead of judging, you breathe. And in this awareness, feelings change. And by changing feelings, everything changes. The mentor teaches that the subconscious works like an autopilot. It prefers to repeat the familiar rather than explore the new. But when you insist on feeling abundance, even in the face of resistance, something extraordinary happens. The autopilot begins to be reprogrammed. This is the clear sign of a turning point, when the body and mind begin to align with a new frequency. Practical exercise. The next time you feel fear or shame about taking a step toward your dream, don't back down. Place your hand on your heart and say, "I recognize this, but I choose to move forward." This isn't self-deception. It's emotional shielding. This is how you show your subconscious that change isn't a threat, it's expansion. Over time, it adapts, and the new identity becomes natural. So, if you're feeling resistance now, know this. It's not bad luck, it's confirmation. Discomfort is the last sign before the turning point. Don't ignore it. Your subconscious fights to keep you trapped, but it's precisely at this point that abundance is about to reveal itself. And to cross this threshold, you need to learn to master your feelings, because whoever controls emotions controls destiny. Mastering feelings is mastering destiny. If you understand that destiny isn't written in the stars, but in the emotional field we carry daily. Thoughts may guide, but feelings sign the contract with reality. Those who learn to master emotions, instead of being slaves to them, are already one step closer to the turning point. This is the sign that separates those who remain trapped by their inner adversary from those who achieve abundance. Mastering feelings doesn't mean never feeling fear, anger, or guilt. It means not letting these emotions dictate your choices. The heart remains the compass, and when it vibrates in abundance, nothing external can interrupt the process of manifestation. The mentor teaches, the hidden adversary is within you, but feeling is the true alchemy of the human being. This is the real turning point. Consider the example of high-performance athletes. They don't win just because they train hard, but because they protect their emotional state. While others let pressure overwhelm them, they take a deep breath, adjust their vibration, and enter the field armored. This shielding of emotions is what sets them apart, and the same applies to life. Those who protect their vibration control their destiny. The heart generates an electromagnetic field 60 times stronger than the brain. This means that by mastering your feelings, you emit signals more powerful than any single thought. This is why many intelligent people fail. It's not a matter of reasoning, but of frequency. When feelings are trained, life bends to the energy emitted. Simple practice. When you wake up before checking your phone, place your hand on your chest and choose a feeling to guide your day. It could be gratitude, joy, or trust. Repeat quietly. Today, I decide to vibrate abundance. This decision seems small, but it's the 1 centimeter that separates scarcity from prosperity. It's in this detail that the turning point lies, the signal that cannot be ignored.
Successful people know that life will always try to steal their frequency. News, toxic environments, negative conversations, all of these attack the emotional realm. But those who master their feelings don't react, they choose. And this repeated choice, day after day, reprograms the subconscious and creates emotional shielding. This is the secret to sustained victories. So, if you want to change your destiny, don't fight the world. Fight to conquer your inner command. When feelings are aligned, thoughts obey, energy flows, and manifestation happens. This is the turning point. Don't ignore it. Because mastering emotions isn't just a skill, it's the definitive step toward transforming life into abundance. And now comes the key to reprogramming, using feelings as alchemy to rebuild your entire internal field. Feeling as alchemy and reprogramming. The true secret of a turning point isn't in making more effort, but in transforming feelings. The heart is like a sacred laboratory where alchemy occurs that reprograms the entire being. When someone consciously decides to change their feelings, the surrounding electromagnetic field responds and attracts new experiences. This is the sign of a turning point, when feelings stop repeating the past and begin to create the future. Many believe that repeating positive thoughts is enough, but the mind alone cannot sustain transformation. Thoughts are like the spark, but it is feelings that keep the flame burning. This is why, when the heart vibrates with abundance, the universe responds immediately. Human alchemy begins at this point. Changing feelings changes everything. The mentor teaches that reprogramming feelings is like changing the soundtrack of your life. If you're harboring fear, shame, and guilt, your subconscious plays a sad melody. But when you choose light environments, uplifting music, spiritual practices, and healthy connections, the frequency adjusts. And this new vibration opens doors that previously seemed locked. A practical example. If someone desires prosperity but only associates with people who complain about life, their energy is sabotaged. The turning point is to change the cycle, listen to growth talks, and practice gratitude daily. These actions may seem small, but together, they create a shield for feelings, and this shield prepares the ground for abundance. Jung's individuation process already stated, integrating light and shadow is essential. Reprogramming feelings isn't about denying pain, but using it as fuel. Sadness can become compassion, fear can become courage, shame can become humility. This transmutation is the true alchemy that transforms any wound into creative power. And it's at this point that the inner adversary loses its power. Because when the heart vibrates with love, faith, and abundance, the subconscious can no longer resist. It adapts to the new frequency and begins to work in your favor. The turning point is clear. When emotions stop being enemies and become allies, you don't just manifest, you achieve your dreams. So if you feel within yourself that something has changed, that your vibration is no longer the same, know, this is the moment. Don't ignore this sign. You're one step away from a definitive turning point, and the key is the alchemy of feelings. But for this transformation to be sustained, you need to learn to protect this energy, because maintaining success requires constant shielding. Protecting feelings to maintain success. Reaching the top is only half the journey. The real challenge is staying there. Many people take the turning point, achieve abundance, but don't protect their emotions. The result? They end up falling back into old patterns. The turning point doesn't end with achievement. It continues as a shield. Those who ignore this lose everything. Those who protect their feelings sustain victories.
The heart generates a constant vibration, but toxic environments, negative conversations, and draining people can alter this frequency. It's like a glass full of pure water. Just a drop of poison is enough to change everything. The mentor warns, abundance is not lost for lack of talent, but for lack of emotional protection. Therefore, protecting feelings is protecting destiny. Practical example: someone achieves prosperity, but remains surrounded by friends who mock their dreams. Little by little, energy depletes, the subconscious feels guilty again, and scarcity returns. This is the price of ignoring the signal. Another person, however, who decides to change environments, practice silence, and nourish the mind with words of faith, maintains their vibrational frequency intact. Shielding isn't isolation, it's awareness. It means choosing who to share energy with, what content to consume, what environments to frequent. It's spiritual and emotional discipline. And this discipline is the 1C meter that separates a fall from support. Those who monitor their feelings understand that success isn't a coincidence, but daily vibrational maintenance. The mentor teaches, pruning comes before harvest. Often, it will be necessary to cut relationships, habits, and distractions that drain your energy. This cut hurts, but it makes room for abundance to flourish. Life rewards those who protect what they have already achieved, because this is proof that they are ready for more. This is the sign of spiritual maturity. Simple exercise. Before bed, conduct an emotional review of the day. Ask yourself, what feelings did I harbor? Were there times when I gave my energy to something toxic? This practice creates awareness and strengthens the subconscious to maintain its armor. It's like sharpening your sword daily. It ensures preparedness against invisible attacks. Therefore, protecting feelings isn't optional. It's a commandment for those who wish to remain abundant. You've already taken the turning point, but you can't ignore this sign. Success must be safeguarded. Shielding emotions is keeping the vibrational field clean. And to complete this journey, you need to understand the final key, feeling as the definitive gateway to defeating the inner adversary and accessing limitless abundance. Now you realize all the signs were there for you. The fear, the shadow, the subconscious resistance, the last-minute pressure. None of it was failure, but confirmation of proximity. You're one step away from the turning point, and ignoring this sign would be like letting go of the diamonds when you can already touch them. Life is calling you to cross this invisible line. The mentor showed that true power lies not in thinking more, but in feeling better. That the heart, with its electromagnetic field, is the key that opens doors the mind cannot. That mastering feelings is mastering destiny, and that abundance is a consequence of the emotional frequency you sustain. The signal is clear. It's now or never. But the decision isn't mine, it's yours. You can heed this message and return to your comfort zone, or you can accept that life has already brought you here for a purpose. The hidden adversary will try to convince you that it's too late, that you can't do it. But you already know, this is the final test. Discomfort isn't a warning of failure, it's the gateway to victory. So I ask you, will you ignore this sign? Will you let another cycle of opportunities pass you by because of old programming? Or will you take the step that changes everything? Remember, feeling is the true alchemy of the human being. This is the time to reprogram your heart and embrace abundance as your natural state of life. Comment below, I receive, because this statement is more than a phrase, it's a vibrational pact. By writing this, you send confirmation to your subconscious and the universe that you will not ignore the signal. You will take the step, you will achieve your dreams, you will break the limiting patterns that previously held you back, and I want to invite you to continue this journey. There's a free lecture on the psychology of money and reprogramming your subconscious for abundance. There, you'll discover even deeper practices to shield your feelings and access limitless prosperity. It's rare knowledge that can accelerate your transformation in a practical and powerful way. Before you leave, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because with each new piece of content, you'll have access to tools that strengthen your emotional armor and keep your frequency high. You're one step away from the turning point, but only those who walk can achieve it. Don't ignore this sign. This is your time. This is your turning point.